My name is Remedy, and we are here to discuss our Hoodoo heritage and what's next for us, okay? And so this video I entitled Nothing Left to Prove. We don't have to prove anything to anyone but ourselves, okay? It's crazy because the Black Power movement is actually a personal empowerment movement, and I feel like nothing can stop us. Like, I feel like they can. There's the way Spirit has shifted things. It's like it's all internal. The war is spiritual, so it's within. It's not out in the streets. Okay, we don't have to go and fight anybody. The only battle that we need to fight is the one within ourselves. And so we have nothing left to prove to any other group of people who we are. We know that we are the indigenous people of America. We know that our heritage is mixed with European and African, and we love ourselves for that. And if we want to just break it down to a name, you know, we've chosen the name Solon, okay? Or we can choose the title Foundational Black American. We know who we are, okay? I really feel like the Age of Aquarius lifted that veil, okay? Many of us been woke for years, but the fact that we can all collectively communicate freely and that it's now being more accepted even by Black people, it just is confirmation of the spiritual shift. And we have the power. I saw it in my mind's eye that things have already shifted in our favor, and we've actually already won the battle. The awakening. The awakening of Black people is how we shifted and won this battle. They had us because they had the change on our minds, and because we were confused. I'm not going to say we didn't know, because I feel like the indigenous part, I feel like we knew. I'm adopted. Okay, I'm a child of adoption, and I happen to know my biological family, but I always knew that I was like a long lost Indian princess. You know, it's like that's just always what I felt. I always felt like I had Native American. And so when I connected with my biological father and I seen the picture of his grandmother, who she looks like a textbook Indian, okay, period. And then my mother's side of the family comes from Texas and Louisiana. Now we already know about Louisiana. My grandmother's from Louisiana. We already know, okay, that those were the indigenous people, okay, and that culture is strong, okay, and rooted. And so I feel like we as a people, we've known that we were indigenous, and now that I don't know if it was the Cherokee Indian coming out and saying, "Hey, we acknowledge you as our relatives," you know, or what, I don't know what sparked it. If it was just a spiritual thing, if it was just whatever it was, I'm just so glad for it. I'm just so glad that it brought us together. And I want to make the distinction that we started coming together as understanding ourselves as indigenous to America and delineating ourselves as foundational Black Americans before the Kirk incident. And so the Kirk incident just put a spotlight on what Black people are doing, because white people, I don't know, for some reason they felt like an assassination like that had to be our fault, okay? And you know, I don't know, I'm just so glad for the whole situation. I'm glad to see, you know, the discussions online. I'm glad to see the edification for our people, you know, even if they're using AI videos to depict us as indigenous, you know, whatever. I just love to see it. I mean, we just deserve it. You know, I was thinking of earlier today is how they really love to try to separate us from the Native people, because they show reverence to Native people. They show reverence. They say, "Oh my God, this was your land. What was done to you was wrong. You deserve reparations. You deserve da da da." And it's like, it's just so funny to see. And it's just so funny to see how it is anti-Blackness. It is not anti-Native people. It is not anti any other people. In America, it is anti-Blackness. blackness. Like, they do not, they want to be like, you are a sub-Saharan African. Like, just because those people live under the Sahara, okay, why are you trying to say sub-Saharan as if that means subhuman? Like, first of all, like, what are you trying to, why are you insinuating it like that, you know? But it's not about being primitive or indigenous or original. They just don't want it to be us. And I think it's because we are those people. Because of how much we are entitled. How can they can't pretend like they're respectable people, and I'm talking about white America, or the system of white supremacy. They can't show like, oh, we are morally correct, while they beat down the indigenous people who they stole the land from. Okay, so in regards to having nothing to prove, we don't have to prove anything. We know it innately, and we don't owe anyone any sort of explanation. Okay, the only people we don't even have to prove it to each other. If they want to say like, hey, I'm going back to Africa, that's me. I support. Okay, I support them. Them are cousins. Okay, you know, we don't even have to prove it to other people. We just need to stand for ourselves. Okay, one of the things that I'm loving online is ignoring the mean comments. You know, when they either call you a slur, or they try to put a paragraph about how, you know, there's no way, you know, they'd be like, oh, you're pretending in. And it's like, I'm loving seeing nobody respond to them. Don't give them your energy. America is such a vampire, okay? White supremacy is such a vampire. White supremacy doesn't exist if they don't have anybody to reign supreme. They're not just like, it's like, to say that you're supreme means that you're comparing yourself. That's the difference. Like, white supremacy is different than black power. When we say black power, we're just saying, hey, we're black and we're powerful. We got power, you know? It doesn't mean that we're more powerful than you, the most powerful on the earth, even though I do believe that we are the greatest people of our time based on how we continually overcome struggle. But that's besides the point, is that black power doesn't mean I'm more powerful than you. It just means power. White supremacy, when you say you're supreme, that means that you're trying to rank. Okay? So you can't be supreme by yourself. Okay? That's why their little white community that they started and tried to, like, you know, hold over our heads failed, because there's nobody to be supreme over. Now your ass is just out there working hard. Okay, and as a human should. Like, if you want something, you got to go get it. Also, I think that I was reading something, and, you know, somebody had made a mention, like, we just need to separate, which, me personally, I'm 100% for full sovereignty separation, even if that means that we start from the absolute fucking bottom. Okay, I don't give a damn if all we have is dirt. Okay, and it takes the rest of my life to see an apple tree grow. I don't know how many years it takes for an apple tree to grow. But, you know, I don't give a damn if all we do is start with dirt. I'm willing to do that for sovereignty, because I understand that that's what freedom is. Freedom is not having to continuously pay into a system, okay? Continuously having to work for a system. I'm sorry, y'all. Something started moving in my closet, and there's nothing. There's no wind. Like, I don't know. Okay. So, I'm like, what? Something had to have knocked over. But, oh yeah. So, we can just build. Like, somebody was saying, oh, you know, our economy would collapse if black people fully separated. Great. Good. Perfect. The economy that we are currently oppressed by, right? And all people are oppressed by the economy, okay? But we're talking about us, is the same economy that refused to pay us for our services. So we built the economy, they've abused us for centuries, and you want me to be sad that the economy is collapsing and that the empire will soon be done? that I could possibly see the ending of this empire in my lifetime. No, I'm getting my popcorn. I am ready. I'm getting my skills up so that when this place is leveled down to dirt, okay, that I have something valuable to offer actual people, actual community, to build something that is actually sustainable for humanity. YouTube keeps putting these little questions at the bottom. They want me to like add to the system. So it said common words you can't spell. I almost got offended, but that was just an AI prompt. They want me to ask you guys that. So anyways, a common word I can't spell is probably something simple like necessary, or like how many C's, how many S's, you know? Anyways, sorry for that distraction. Holy Spirit, we are so grateful. All praises to the Most High Power. We have nothing to prove. About our royalty. We just need to be. You know, and I think that at this point, it's almost kind of obvious. Like, isn't it obvious that we're the indigenous people in America just covering it up? Like, they've lied about literally everything, not just about black stuff, okay? They lie about everything. So you think that they wouldn't lie about this? Come on. Five of Cups. It's giving me the energy of, well, that's like tears and sadness, okay? So what we really are focusing on right now is healing ourselves. Okay, healing ourselves, healing those insecurities. And that's why the edification and the videos and the conversation and videos like this, right, are, they're good for the soul, okay? We are healing the pain of our soul, generational pain that was passed down to us, okay? It may not look the same as 100 years ago, right? But it still has the same root. All praise to the Most High Power. Yeah, so we need to just get on one accord with each other, partnering, building our community, doing things through love, loving self, loving ourselves, and then loving our neighbors. And I don't know, because I said loving our neighbors. I'm like, loving black people and wanting to build black community and even wanting sovereignty and segregation. That's not a hate for anyone else. It is a love for self. Yes, okay, we need this new beginning in love. We need to, this is what, okay, the fact that we are not responding to the questioning and the bantering that's going on online as far as who we are and what we've accomplished, because it seems, okay, it seems to me that black people invented everything in America, but even beyond, like, we are responsible for all of today's useful tools, and that everything was, you know, patents were just stolen. You know, just because the white man created the business, but then they hired a black person to work it. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's so important for us to know that it's restoring our hearts. Water is very significant. Water, love, compassion, empathy, all the things that we did not receive from white America. Okay, white America for sure did not invent love and compassion, okay, and empathetic terms, okay. They certainly didn't invent that. Okay, so the self-love and the love for our community and our people, all right, for some reason that turns into a pentacle, the Queen of Pentacles. Fuck that. It's putting us back on our throne. Thank you, Spirit. It's putting ourselves back on our throne, continuing to edify ourselves and ignoring the haters and feeling like I have nothing to prove to you. You know, because Today's white people are dumb as fuck. Honestly, like we all had the same fucking education. So unless you took the time to go learn things and do personal development, I'm like 10 years deep into personal development and spirituality. Okay. So if you've never looked outside of what you've been taught, you're actually very uninformed about the world around you. Okay. And so because white people are not under the same amount of stress that we are in regards to, who are we, where we come from, why are we hated so much? They just never had to go look. Okay. Now, obviously, as individuals are different, but I'm talking about as a collective. Okay. The white person who was adopted and by a black family, completely different from the white person who's never really been around black people, which I think is kind of weird because all of us black people have been around white people. You can't say, like, I ain't never been around no white people. I ain't never had to, like, be in a PWI. That's just not true. But I heard 70% of white people, like, never had black friends or never had to, like, be in an environment of black people. That's wild. And then to speak on us, I mean, they should be the quietest. Okay. I know that, you might get triggered and say some shit you saw in the media or learned in school. But honestly, if you didn't grow up around us, okay, or like if you don't have a lot of people who work at your job or something like that, a lot of black people work, if you're white and don't have a lot of black people who work at your job, you don't know us enough to say anything about us. Okay, so trying to call us Shanae, which is not, they try to use that as a derogatory term, but our names like Shaniqua, that qua, okay, particularly, is evidence of our indigenous ancestry. Okay? It stems back to the fact that we are a different people. We are, and I also want to say that I love how Hoodoo brings us together, but I think that there's a lot of evidence in the fact that we were fully established people here in this continent, because it has a lot to do with, like, how did we know the roots? How did we know the herbs to choose if we hadn't always been here? How did we understand irrigation, and how did we understand, like, how to farm and things like that if we were completely new to this land? Because the white people did not have the knowledge. Okay? And they didn't have phones and internet and YouTube videos to go back and be like, one white person who hung out with a native to be like, oh, this is how you do it. Da, da, da. No. They didn't have that communication ability in the same way. So it's like, how did the black enslaved people, how did they have all of the understanding of how to work the field? Okay? How to cook the food, what to make. I know these, you know what I'm saying? For some reason, I'm like, what was they eating? I'd like to know the style of the food on the plantation. Like, what was it? Were they eating mashed potatoes? Like, or were they eating like flatbreads, tortillas? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really curious about that. Just because everybody, like, be like, well, maybe they were eating pork, they were eating beef, right? Were they making hamburgers? I highly doubt that. Two of Wands. Something about choices. Okay. Two of Clubs, Three of Clubs. It's about community. So, yeah, building community. Loving on ourselves, loving our people, and appreciating us puts us back on our throne. And then we just start working with each other. That's the only thing we need to focus on. We don't need to, and like that comes back to the title, my channel message, we don't have anything to prove. Like, maybe that's not your tribe. Like, even if, we could be skin folk, right? But we just can't mesh, or we just understanding is different. It's like, if you want to be well, I'm native, and they're like, no, but we're Hebrew, and it's like, you're like, I do not want to fucking read the Bible because the Bible has caused enough trauma in my life, you know. It's like, that does not make us, we certainly aren't enemies. Yes, we're the same people regardless, but that's okay if that tribe wants to grow in one way and another tribe wants to grow in another. Okay. So learning who you're finding your people. We all have different interests, you know. Some people are like, you know, man, I'm trying to get to the farming and the food of it all. And the other people are like, oh, I'm trying to get to the political part of it all. And then the other people are like, well, I'm trying to figure out the economics. And the other people are like, well, what the hell are we going to do with all these kids? You know, so it's like, we all have a position, you know, and it might be a time when all the educational people click up and then the farming people click up and da-da-da, you know. And then they have to separate, and then they become a village of the 5 different groups, you know, that, you know, we need each one of each, da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? All praise to the Most High Power. I might switch this. Hey there, welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay, so 2 of spades. Okay, so choices. Okay, a decision though. Like, so pick a path. Pick a path. It's giving me, you know, just pick one thing and go for it. You know, just because you, like I was just talking about, like, if you want to be in politics, economics, farming, you know, like, you pick one and go for it. And it's okay if you choose something later. Okay. But it's really saying, like, choose something, make a decision. I'll just do my personal, I've been a weed smoker all my life, right? I'm from California. And since I was 14, not all my life. That's long enough though, right? And the last couple of years, like, I'll take breaks from smoking. It's like, I really need to stop smoking so I can just elevate, right? But it's something I enjoy, and I don't do much else. So, I had to make a decision, right? Just recently, you know, I know that in this season of my life, especially as I feel called to a position of leadership in the Black community, I need to be better. I need to be at the top of my game. And so sometimes I go back and forth, like, well, is it okay for me to smoke? Yes, no, yes, no. And there's all the different reasons that you can give yourself. I had to make a decision and be like, I'm going to remain sober. Instead, you know, instead of me being like, is weed good? Well, the Indians were smoking. Well, it helps me spiritually, you know, da-da-da, you know. Remaining sober for the time being. You know what I'm saying? So, like, something about that, like making a conscious decision that you're going to go in a particular direction. And, you know, and it's funny how I'm lining this out. Sometimes I make pyramids. It just depends. But, like, Spirit has me kind of, like, lining these cards out, and it's like a path. Okay? So I really feel like these are instructions. So 9 of Cups, yeah, for your wish fulfillment. So you want to choose, whatever decision it is. It's like you have to, like, sometimes you make that choice because you want that future that you want. Okay, so you choose the hard road because you know it's going to get you to the future that you desire. The Jerk. So just go for it. Take that leap of faith with the full energy. Okay? Take that leap of faith. And then I like the fact that this is a Joker. And it's like, it doesn't matter what people call you. Oh, you're a clown. Oh, you're a pretendian. What else I seen? Oh, the we was movement or something somebody has said, like, oh, we was this, we was, you know, exactly. Because we was everything. That's why. And the fact that we wouldn't have to even be in this energy if white supremacy didn't try to cover up every great thing. You know, if they had just let us have Egypt, we probably would have never figured out that we was the fucking natives. But the fact that they tried to be so weird about Egypt and trying to say, like, Egypt's not in Africa, because I specifically had a conversation with my geography teacher in 10th grade about, we were talking geography, and he was talking, oh, the greatness of Egypt, yada, yada, is in Africa. The map I was looking at, it was right there. The map I was looking at was in Africa. Egypt was in Africa. The geography teacher refused to acknowledge that and deliberately was trying to get me not to believe that Egyptians were Africans. He wanted me to believe so badly that Egyptians were not Africans and that there's no way I was connected to an Egyptian, me as a 10th grader. Okay, if they hadn't gone so hard to destroy Black evidence, we probably would have not realized that we are the indigenous Americans. And so what was made for our destruction will be, and is becoming, the foundation of our enlightenment. So, hello. Okay, so I'm going to end with this card because we got that Joker that flew out. All praise to the Most High Power. Capricorn energy, it's time to boss up. Do a little more shuffling. It's time to boss up and really stand on business, on the spiritual aspect and the physical aspect. So work it in the spirit first. Do the personal development. So, like, when it comes down, if they want to fight about some shit or we need to go to court about some shit, it's like, we're in a better position. When we want to demand our reparations or whatever, or our land, we also won't be looking silly because it's like, no, we're powerful. Look at how, I was going to say soldierific. Maybe that is not a word. What is the word? Militant. Look how militant they are. Look how, look, this is their economic plan. Look, this is their, whatever we want to present to the courts to say, hey, not only do we deserve it for these reasons, but we want to show you how this can actually benefit you, because if we have our own economy, then we can actually contribute, okay, to the American economy and actually help it live, if that's the route that we choose, right? Depending on how everything goes over the next couple of years. His spirit said months. So something dramatic may happen over the next year. Water. Yeah, a lot of water here. So it's bringing me back to this theme of edification and love and letting this flow and not letting anybody tear us down because we are on a high. We need to get to this throne. Okay? Remaining quiet about our plans, but let's keep it on a personal hype. Just doing the personal development. Doing that personal development. No matter, everybody's got their own shit. For me, it's not smoking and getting alkaline. Getting me an alkaline diet. As well as being consistent in like posting and stuff. Like, those are the things that I'm personally working on, right? Shadow work, okay? So then the healing comes. So I have to figure out, well, why am I so addicted to marijuana? Or sugar. You know what I'm saying? So you have to like do the shadow work. Well, what is my issue? Well, my issue is, I don't know, lack of self-control, or it's deeper than that. More like, you realize I smoke because I'm escaping reality, right? And so, well, why do I need to escape reality? Well, because life is hard. Okay, well, why is life is hard? That's you going down the shadow work, okay? That's you doing the inner healing, so that when some honky motherfucker try to come in and debate you on you don't care. It doesn't mess up your energy, okay? The whole thing is that we need to have our freaking energy up, okay? We need to be in a high vibrational mindset of feeling great about ourselves and who we are and where we come from and where we're headed. The thing is that we can confidently say that if America collapses, we can rebuild. We can say that confidently. We can confidently say that we can build royal, that we are royal people, okay? Because we've seen that displayed within ourselves, okay? So we can rebuild our wealth. We know that because we had Black Wall Street in a system designed for our failure and oppression. Okay? Because it's more than like, oh, I just want you to fail. No, they like actually want us to get fucked up and end up in their system, end up in their prison, end up in servitude to them. Okay? So in a system that is designed for our failure and our oppression, we're still working it. I'm actually really proud of us. I'm actually really proud of how far we've come as a people over the last 50 or so years since they stopped legally lynching us. Okay? I think there was an incident in the 80s, though, with the move when Philadelphia bombed a Black neighborhood because they wanted Black liberation. They weren't hurting anyone, but they put bombs on them, and that was in the 80s, 85, I think. That's the year my ex-husband was born, okay? So I was born in 88. So when white people try to say, nobody's oppressing you, every single time we rise up, here they come. So next time, we need to know, like, hey, yo, we're on our throne, you know, like, shoot back is what I'm saying. You're not going to be able, like, now that I've done a lot of shadow work, okay, like, you used to be able to kind of talk to me in a kind of way, or I have insecurity. Now, if I see you disrespecting me, it's a problem. Okay? It's a problem. I'm going to call you out. Okay? I don't just let it slide because I've done too much work on myself. I love myself too much to let you just disrespect me just because you think you can. Gratitude. And every day be grateful for what we have. Be grateful for how far we've come. Be grateful for the way our ancestors endured. Grateful to the Most High Power for continuously putting breath into us, as well as thank you to our, our ancestral star guidance. Okay? We can even be grateful for some of the painful experiences that we've had that made us better people. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, and I will be back later. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.